Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is the hardware review of the HTC Thunderbolt on Verizon Wireless. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's jump into specs before we actually do a tour of the hardware of the HTC Thunderbolt. We're running on a Qualcomm Snapdragon single-core 1 GHz processor. It's basically the same processor that you get on the HTC Inspire 4G, but it's different than the processor that you get on the HTC Evo. It's a little bit more advanced, it's faster, and it performs very, very well, as we're going to see in some benchmarks coming up in the next video. It's running with 768 megabytes of RAM. That is a lot of RAM. You can multitask very capably with the Thunderbolt and, of course, with the Inspire 4G. We have got 2.5 gigabytes of onboard storage plus a plentiful 32 gigabytes included with the microSD card. Very impressive that HTC and Verizon included 32 gigabytes of extra storage. That is quite good. And really the best that you can do on a phone. There are no microSD cards that are bigger than 32 gigabytes right now. So very appreciative of that. The screen is Super LCD, 800 down by 480 cross. This resolution is getting a little bit outdated. The bump to QHD, which is 960 down and 540 across, is happening this year. It's likely that the next high-end phone from HTC is going to have the QHD resolution. It's time for a resolution bump. Now, the Super LCD screen is 4.3 inches. It's the same exact screen as you get on the Inspire 4G. So let's actually compare them, and you'll notice something interesting. These are both set to automatic screen brightness. If we can turn this on, sometimes this standby button is difficult to operate. Okay, and here's two websites compared side to side, same web page, and yet, as you can see right on the video, the Thunderbolt seems to have whiter whites, just a clearer display. They're both on automatic screen brightness, so everything should be equal. But the Thunderbolt has a nicer display than the Inspire 4G, so definitely points for that. Turn it off here, and let's kind of walk around the device here. Up here we have some Chrome. Who doesn't like Chrome? There's an LED notification light inside the Chrome strip here, which will inform you when you have a new email, a new message, so you don't always have to turn on your phone. Got a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. The Inspire 4G doesn't have this. Truth be told, most people won't ever use this except to take a picture of themselves once in a while. It's just a kind of a novelty feature. It's nice to have, but you'll probably agree that most people aren't going to use it. Up here on the top, we've got kind of a difficult to feel for standby button on the right side of the device, then a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on the top, and what's that second hole there? That is a secondary microphone used for noise cancellation. So this phone has noise cancellation, which is always a great feature if you find yourself in a loud situation outside a windy park, or if you're out at night. It really helps to cut down on noise. Down here we've got the Android buttons, capacitive. When you tap on them, they vibrate a little bit. Have a little design element here, kind of like this rubbery strip. Going to the side, we can start to see the thickness here. The Thunderbolt is as thick, maybe slightly thicker than the Evo 4G. Just keep that in mind. Compared to the Inspire 4G, it's about 2 millimeters thicker. So that's something you want to keep in mind if you're sensitive to a thick device. Although, you know, the trade-off here is that you're getting a 4G modem and a little bit thicker of a width here. Not that big of a deal. It's not remarkably thick. It's just pretty thick. In terms of other devices that are landing on Verizon that can do 4G, the Revolution from LG and the Stealth from Samsung. The Stealth is going to be the thinnest. The LG Revolution is going to be the thickest, and then the Thunderbolt is kind of right down the middle. So here we have the microSD port for syncing and charging. On the bottom, you see the primary microphone. Over on the other side, we've got the volume up and down rocker. Now, over on the back, we've got really no metal to speak of compared to the Inspire 4G, which has that nice unibody metal construction that feels great in hand. On the back of the Thunderbolt, you get the soft touch plastic, which feels nice, but not as high quality as the Inspire 4G. Also, interestingly, although this is an 8 megapixel camera, it's not written around or near the camera lens. If you look at, say, the Inspire 4G, again, we're comparing a lot to this phone because they're so similar. You can see in the light, it says 8 megapixels right around the camera sensor. They're not advertising that on the Thunderbolt, which is kind of strange. dual LED flash, which actually seems quite capable at illuminating dark subjects without making that big white splash that is characteristic of these very powerful dual LED flashes. This can do 720p video recording. Here we've got this kickstand. It's made out of metal. It seems very resilient. And there's actually the speaker underneath the kickstand, and yet you would think that when the speaker was on, it would be muffled with the kickstand down. It's not the case at all. Kind of strange. So this serves the purpose of course, tilting the device slightly. Whether you use this will be determined by how many movies, how much video you watch. Although I've been finding it very useful to, say, read an article on the New York Times app because the stand is sturdy enough to where I can sort of manipulate objects on the screen and swipe and whatnot without the device sort of moving away from me. So that's good to see. We've got the nice 4G LTE logo here. Let's pop off this backing. Back here, we've got a 1400 milliamp hour battery that's bigger than the Inspire 4G. So far, it seems that they have about the same battery life, although it's only been about a day, so it's tough to test battery life in such a short time. We'll have full battery tests coming up in the full review. So we can pop off this battery here and reveal some fun things back. Behind the battery, we've got the 4G Verizon card. Again, it's funny to see Verizon with a SIM card. Of course, Verizon's dual-mode world phones would have a SIM card, so perhaps it's not that unusual. And of course, up here in the upper right corner, kind of in the little sneaky place, we've got the 32 gigabyte Class 4 microSD card. That is a huge amount of storage coming from the factory, which is very much appreciated. So we'll pop this back in and go like this. So overall, the hardware on the HTC Thunderbolt is quite good. It feels a lot thicker, gotta tell you, than the Inspire 4G. It also feels a little bit lower quality because it's not built with that metal, with the unibody construction. Although at the end of the day, it's an HTC device, you know what to expect. It still feels good in hand. It has nice fit and finish with the chrome accents, with the nice little design element down here. It looks good from across the room. What can you say? It's an HTC phone. So overall, high marks to HTC for building another good, high-quality, sturdy device here. We've got a lot more coming up on the HTC Thunderbolt. We're going to run speed tests, benchmarks, a lot of comparisons, so be sure you subscribe to the Pocketnow Video YouTube channel to see when the next video hits. Thanks for watching, and that's it for now.